Hello everybody, so I'm Gonéri Le Bouder. I'm a French guy from the Innovance office in Paris. And so now Innovance is Red Hat. I'm a long-term free software contributor, and I used to work on OpenStack for 1 year now. And well. Okay, so I will just introduce OpenStack and TripleO, just for the ones who are not aware of what is it. I guess you know OpenStack already, but TripleO means OpenStack on OpenStack. The idea is that you bootstrap a small, limited OpenStack, and you use it to bootstrap your large, full-featured OpenStack. TripleO itself comes with different tools, or use different tools that were already existing in OpenStack. So, for example, there is also DiskImage Builder, which I will introduce after, and OS apply, collect, and refresh config, which are the tools that are used to apply the configuration. Okay, so it is just an API on top of the different API of the services that OpenStack provides. And the idea is that you can describe your infrastructure in a YAML file and inject it in it and get your infrastructure deployed in your tenant as you want. Okay, so the virtual machines, the image, the disk, etc. So this is OpenStack it, and this is a project that were already existing before TripleO. DiskImage Builder. This is the gold image generator. The idea is that you can use DiskImage Builder to generate your images for the cloud. But what is a bit specific to DiskImage Builder is that it's very modular, and it's quite easy to put some new new tools in your image. And it's very easy to extend it with what we call elements. Elements is just a directory with additional configuration that we can use with DiskImage Builder. So you can use this element to adjust the content of the image, for example, to install a new software, to tweak some configuration for a grub or things like that. We can also use it to inject some configuration template that we will use later. I will come back on that, on configuration script for the same reason. And it's also possible to do some dependency between the elements. For example, if you have the Fedora element, which is here, we automatically pull the Yum element, or the RPM element, etc., etc. So with just calling 3 elements, like in this example, Fedora, VM, and my application, I can just get an image that will just contain my application with a root file system that will be Fedora, and with the VM element, which means it will get a cloud in it, and at the end, I will get a Kiko2 image. OS apply config, OS collect config, OS refresh config. These are the tools that we use to apply the configuration. So the 3 tools work together to retrieve the configuration from the meta server from OpenStack. So they refresh they get the information, they pass it to OS apply config, and they use the template to apply the configuration within the image. Okay, it's maybe soon a bit tricky. It's not. This is a schema that's pretty hard to read, I think. The idea is that on the top you have the meta server, which provide meta information, so YAML file actually. OS collect config, which is in the middle, which collects the information. Every 30 seconds you will refresh the local cache. And then there is OS apply config, which use the templates and the scripts that are in the image already, and to generate the configuration and start the services. Okay. This is a bit different to what we used to see in the deployment of virtual machine or machine. In general, we used to boot to start a machine, virtual machine or not, which we run a minimal system, a cloud image, or systems that are being deployed with the operating system installer using a Kickstart or Precede. And at the end of this step, you have a limited operating system with just SSH or something like that. At the second step, you install Puppet or use Ansible or things like that to get your system set up properly. So it will pull the packages using Yum or apt. It will configure the system, and it also will check the system is up to date and pull the new packages if you need. With TripleO, it's a bit different because at the end of the deployment, when your VM virtual machine runs and starts, it already has all the packages within in the image. So there is no need to install new package. The second step is just to configure the package, the software that is in the image. So it's much more simple, but less powerful. You can adjust an image, running image to get another kind of application. You have just to follow the line. So the big changes. So with TripleO, the configuration manager tool should not install a package and should not install a software, and it should only configure the system. Okay. An example. The idea is that with this example, you can run a WordPress on MariaDB, and just to get to do because of the time of the talk, the duration of the talk, I just reduce the complexity of the example. So there is just the WordPress configuration. You can get the full working sample on this URL. So the idea here is that I will prepare my element to get the WordPress image. So in this example, I install the WordPress package, and then I install a template for the wp-config.php file from WordPress. So this is a WordPress template, and a Jinja 2 Word template, and you can see the macro in the file. And then I will also install a configuration script that will be used to start the service and enable HTTPD. And that's it. Now I just have to tweak my it file to pass the correct value to my virtual machine. So here it's the DB password and the DB host parameters. And I'm done. Okay. Now, when I will inject my it file with the image, everything will be set up properly, and I get the correct result. So the benefit of this methodology is important. The main idea is that it's very easy to redeploy an application even months or years later, because you have no dependency on external repository or external or external application, etc. Here, everything is in the image, and you can just redeploy your it stack, and you get the same application deployed as you did just 3 months before. You reduce a lot the risk of failure because there is no network communication during the deployment. There is you reduce the risk of failure because of DNS outrage or things like that, because everything is in the image directly on the meta server. It's super fast because you don't have to wait for the packages to be installed and downloaded, etc. You just have to start your image, and you're done. The image is ready, and you just have to wait for OS apply config to configure the services. It's just some second. And this is important. It's consume much less I/O for the same reason, because there is no package to install, there is no F-sync to do every second, and some things like that, and the CPU level is much lower. Okay, that's not the perfect solution. There is still some trouble. For example, at this point, there is no public repository with elements. There is the one from TripleO, but it's very specific to TripleO. But I guess maybe in the future we will get some generic element repository with MariaDB and things like that. OpenStack it and OS apply config tools evolve quickly, and the best is to use the very last release of OpenStack. And for example, if you use Havana, most of the tricks here won't work because it's too old. And that's not specific to TripleO, but there is still the data issue because you have to share your data, you have to keep them somewhere. For example, TripleO uses a shared NFS server. But for example, it deploys, which is our tools at Innovance, which is quite similar. We use rsync to preserve the data. So there is different strategy, and I think no one yet find the best solution. And there it is. Okay. Do you have question?